What's going on, bro? So I want to talk to you today about being intentional with what you consume. So I'll tell you a quick story. There's this guy that I knew for a long while now. Like I met him when I was like in preschool or kindergarten or something. When I was really really young, so when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And the way that I would describe him is like he would always be one of those guys who didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like not in like the good way that you're supposed to, like not caring about what random people, what other people think, like the opinions and validation of other people. Like that doesn't matter. He like not in that way, but he would always be like, what's the word? Nonchalant with life. He'd be one of those guys like when you put a plate of food in front of him, whatever it is, could be the most unhealthy thing ever. He'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll eat it. Same thing with the clothes he would wear, right? Like every single time, he'd be like he would always wear like kind of like dirty clothes, like stained clothes. Some clothes that maybe even had holes in them, and he'd wear them every single day, day after day. The same thing every single day, day after day. And he'd be one of those guys who'd be like, oh yeah, like I think I would ask him like when I was like like 5, 6 years old. I'd be like why are you wearing the same thing again? He was just like, oh, just cause. He would always be like so unintentional with what he did. The food that he would consume, the clothes that he would wear. And like when I got into high school, I didn't see him after like preschool for like the first maybe I saw him for a couple of years in preschool, and then like throughout elementary school and middle school I never saw him. But like honestly, maybe he probably did go to the same school as me. Maybe I just didn't notice. Like we stopped being friends. Like I think after preschool. And so then I just saw him again in high school when I last year. And I really don't want to make fun of him. I don't like making fun of other people. But he looked like kind of homeless. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I know that might sound like mean or whatever the fuck. But like the clothes he would wear, that would just be dirty as fuck. Like he looked like he looked like one of those guys who just like needed to get his life together. Like he looked weird. He had like a weird facial hair. He had like his haircut was like kind of like not even that good. The clothes he would wear, I don't like to make fun of other people like this, but this just to give you like the perspective of the story here. And I could just tell, like instantly when I saw him, I could just tell like, yeah, his life's probably shit. I think the lesson that we can learn, a lesson that I learned at least from this story, be intentional with what you do. Be intentional with what you consume. Don't be like one of those guys, like one of my previous like friends, I guess you could say. Don't be like him. I know we're like he probably won't see this video because I'm not using his name, but the lesson that we can learn from this again is just be intentional with what you do. Be intentional with what you consume, and that not only applies with food and water and all the the basic biological needs. I think it applies with what you watch, what you hear, what other people tell you. He wasn't intentional with what he did. Again, like I'll use that word, he was just nonchalant about just life in general. When you have this nonchalant attitude, even I had this before. I wasn't intentional with what I consumed. I remember my I guess like criteria for like the food I ate or like the media that I consumed or something like that. If it feels good, if it tastes good, I'm eating it, I'm consuming it. End of story. I wasn't really intentional with what I did. Like never. I would always just Be a slave to my emotions. That's I guess how I would say it. Be a slave to what I felt like doing. Never once moved with intention. I was so nonchalant about just life in general. That was probably one of the lowest parts of my life. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was addicted to porn and video games and junk food. You know, all like the standard BS. The standard BS that everybody tells you. Like, you know, like, stop being addicted to these things. I was addicted to all of them. I was so nonchalant about life. I wasn't intentional. And it fucked me over. It fucked me over big time. I have a video on my channel titled, like, you know, how to fix your life. You can go onto the title and just look at my face. Just look at my face in like that thumbnail, like on the I think it's on like the left side. You can go and look at my face, and it's like you can tell that picture right there that spoke 1,000 words. You can tell how shit my mental health was. You can tell just from looking at that photo. That was the time when I was just nonchalant about life, when I didn't care about anything. Not in like not in like the sense where it's like, oh yeah, I don't care about other people's opinions or something like that, because you shouldn't care about what like random people think about you. I truly didn't give a fuck. Like, there's people who don't give a fuck in a sense like of that way, where they don't care about other people's opinions and like they live their life the way they want to. I was one of those motherfuckers who I truly didn't give a fuck. I knew people like that, and I was also one of them, and it fucked me. It fucked me over. I'm glad I fixed it now. I'm glad I finally started being intentional with what I consume. I'm glad I finally started living life in not such a nonchalant way, with again being intentional with everything that I do. I keep saying this. I think it's really important, from at least what I've learned, from personal experience and from what I've seen from other people. When you're unintentional, when you're just nonchalant, when you just let life happen to you, you get fucked. You become depressed and anxious with shit mental health and suicidal thoughts. I like I still remember those days. I would go to bed just not wanting to wake up the next day because my life was shit. I wasn't intentional. I was being abused by my father at the time as well. I was depressed, anxious, again, addicted to all of the things: sugar, video games, porn, everything, right? That's what happens when you truly don't give a shit, when you're unintentional. Be intentional with what you consume. Be intentional with what you do. It's probably one of the most important things that I've learned, at least. When it comes to like a health perspective, you know, being intentional with what you eat, what you drink is super, super important. Every single day, if you know me personally, if you're watching this video, you see me in school, I always have a packed lunch. Every single day, I usually eat the same thing. You like for the people who know me in real life who are watching this, you ask me what I'm eating, I'm gonna say the same thing. I always eat the same things every single day. I'm always intentional with it. I've planned out a meal plan for me that works for me, that I feel the best with, and I just eat that. I was intentional with what I wanted to eat, and I just stuck to it. You know, even with water. You see me in real life, like for the people who know me, I carry around like a massive like fucking water bottle, right? Like it's big ass water bottle. The reason why I do that is, number one, it's just like it's convenient, right? Just because, like, you know, I don't have to keep filling up like with the shitty school water. Like, every time like my water bottle runs out, which rarely, if ever, does it, because it's big. It's like a 1,000 milliliter, like big ass water bottle. But the reason why is because I don't want to fill my water up with our shitty school water. Because like school, like I'm not gonna lie to you, like school water fountains, they're shit. Most of them are just shit. Most of them like they don't even taste good, and they've also probably got shit chemicals in it too. They might have like like filters and stuff. Fine. Your water still has birth control hormones in it. Your water still has fluoride in it. Your water still has lead in it. Like these heavy metals and shit. It's got birth control hormones. Like like the pills that women take so that they can't get pregnant. They use so that they can't get pregnant, which fucks up their hormones, by the way. That's in the water that you're drinking. That's also probably in the school water. So I don't drink the school water. I just drink the water that I have in my house, which is filtered to take out everything from it. All of the BS, all the fluoride, all the birth control hormones, all the lead and all that stuff. That's all filtered out by the filtration system that we have in our house. I just drink that and I fill it up like to the max with like that big ass water bottle. I'm intentional with what I eat. I'm intentional with what I drink. I don't eat school food. You will never see me eating school food once. If you know me personally, I will never eat the school lunch. God knows what they put in that shit. God knows. Like, for the people who go to my school who are watching this, maybe like you're a teenager yourself, and chances are you are if you're watching this. You know how bad the school food is. Come on. You know how shitty like the food that they serve is. God knows if even like, can it be even classified as real food? Like what they're putting in there? Like, I have no idea, right? So I don't eat it. I always bring lunch to school. I always bring my own water. I'm intentional with a lot of the things that I do. I have my entire day planned out from start to finish. I know what I'm doing at every single point of the day. Every single point of the day, I know what I'm doing. I go to sleep at the same time. I wake up at the same time. I wake up and I work. I go to school. I go gym. Come home, learn, do it all over again. I know what I'm doing at every single point of the day. I'm not mindless with it. If you see me in real life, you will never see me like staring at the wall, like just being mindless. Sometimes I will take time to think. But that's just being intentional again. Because I'm not sitting there just being mindless, just like you remember those times. I can remember these times at least when I used to be like sitting in a classroom in elementary school, and the teacher would be saying something and I wouldn't really be paying attention. So I would always like look over to like everybody else in the classroom, like what everybody else is doing. And I would always see that one guy. He would always just be staring off into space. Like that guy who he would just be like, just no blinking, no nothing, just mouth breathing, just like staring off into space. I do take time to think. I do take time to like write down my thoughts. Of course I do. Being introspective, I think it's really important. It's helped me a lot, at least. Just like trying to like figure things out. Like you're stressed because of school and because of all this stuff. You got big tests coming up. It's really helpful for me, at least, to just write down whatever it is I'm thinking about. I take time to be introspective. I take time to just sit and think. I take time out of my day to do that. But you will never see me in school be mindless. Never, not once. If you see me in real life, I guarantee you, you will never see me just staring off into space like this, doing all this shit. There's people, like, when you talk to them, or at least when I do, I can already tell, like, yeah, this person's not present at all. when you've meditated for like 100 hours, or maybe even if you just meditated for like like a month or a few months, you kind of begin to notice like when people are mindless. You begin to notice when people aren't present. Whenever I talk to people, I can just instantly tell like, okay, like this person's like he's talking to me, he's being receptive, he's like holding my eye contact, and so he's like he's actually being present with me right now. Most of the time, though, most people are just mindless. You try and talk to them like their brain turns off. At least people our age, like actually no, not even people our age, just people in general. I think they're just mindless. You remember those like TikTok reels that you used to watch, those Instagram reels or whatever, and they used to be of like somebody like it would like be like a split screen, right? Somebody saying something on top, like talking about some random topic, and on the bottom would be GTA 5 car crash gameplay or Subway Surfers or something like that. That's what it feels like when you talk to most people. Like they're just in the bottom half of the screen. There's this one guy I was talking to in the gym a couple of days ago, and I talked to him and I said something to him, and he was like he was right next to me, and I would be holding his eye contact, but he would always just be just staring off into space. Like never, not once when I talked to him did he like actually hold my eye contact for like a considerable amount of time. Every single time, just staring off into space. I don't really want to make fun of that guy. If you're watching this, you know who you are, by the way, just so you know. And like you can tell. You can tell 100% when somebody's present with you, when they actually want to talk to you, or when they're just being mindless, when they're like just being in that bottom half. I think that's what I'll just call it from now on, just being in the bottom half for being mindless. Sorry, I just went on a rant about like presence and mindfulness. It's really important. At least I think so. I think it's really important because not only does it translate to you being able to talk to other human beings properly, it also just translates to you being more focused in the gym. It translates to you being more focused whilst doing your homework or whilst working on something. It translates to you when your mom says that she wants to spend time with you, you actually wanting to and you actually being fully present instead of being that fucking like idiot motherfucker who's just there in the kitchen with headphones in. Your mom says something to you, you're just like, huh? What would you say? Oh, okay. You put the headphone back in, like you go back to doing some random BS instead of just like being present there with your mother, the woman who gave birth to you. It translates to a lot of things. At least it helped me, at least. It helped me be more focused. It helped me do more work. It helped me just be better. Sorry for the tangent, dude. But even then, like that's still a part of being intentional because you're present there with the other person. When the other person's talking to you, they're being unintentional when you know they're mindless. When they're in the bottom half, it's like they're not being intentional when they talk to you. They're just like being like, huh? Yeah, okay. And then they just go back to doing like something random, right? Like those are like this kind of like this, I guess like the surface level things. But even the like presence and mindfulness, that's not that surface level. But like food and water and stuff like that, that's surface level stuff. That's still important, by the way. That's a really important. But again, that's surface level. But like being intentional with what you consume, it doesn't only apply to that. It applies to movies. It applies to TV shows. It applies to the YouTube videos that you watch. It applies to the music that you listen to. You've definitely heard that quote before. Like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. When I heard that quote, I kind of just sat there and was like, yeah, that's true. I remember those old friends that I used to hang out with. Um, was I the average of them? Yeah, I probably was. They were all losers. They were all addicted to video games. They'd be like, oh, come on, bro, hop online with us. And yeah, I used to be just like them. But when I started watching this kind of content, when I started like taking action on this kind of content, self-improvement, trying to improve your life, trying to fix your life, I started to become kind of like more like the people I was watching. I started to become more like First Man, more like Hamza, more like Andrew Tate and all these other people, right? And I thought to myself, like, oh, hang on. Not only am I the average of the 5 people that I spend the most time with, but now since we spend like half of our time on our phones, we're the average of the 5 people that we watch the most. We're the average of the 5 like sources of content. That's the phrase that I would use. We're the average of the 5 sources of content that we consume the most. If you consume content about programming, you hang around with a bunch of programmers, you consume content about programming, about Python, about like, all of this stuff. You're probably going to become better at programming, right? You're probably going to like absorb some knowledge. You're probably going to like be a programmer, be a better programmer. Because again, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and you're the average of the 5 pieces of content that you consume. The types of content, whatever that is. Same thing goes with movies, TV shows, music, everything. This is huge, by the way, because for me at least, I think the content that we consume dictates what we do. For a lot of the times, for me at least. I remember the content that I consumed about anything. It would always dictate what I would do. I remember those times when I used to be playing video games and I would always be stuck on a certain level. Or maybe I would be trying to like complete a certain challenge. And I would look up like a tutorial about like, okay, how do you beat this level in Batman Arkham City? Banger game, by the way, just so you know. How do you beat this certain level? How do you beat this certain thing? How do you beat this certain boss in some game? You've definitely done this before, right? You've been working hard on this game, but you get stuck on like some certain level. You try over and over and over again, and it just doesn't work. And so you look up like a YouTube tutorial on how to do it. And then you would follow that YouTube tutorial, and then you would get to your desired outcome, which was being that boss, getting that certain achievement or some like certain item or whatever it is, right? What you consume dictated your action at like that certain moment, right? I know that might seem small, but I think the lesson we can learn from that is what you consume dictates what you do. And from what I know, what you do dictates who you become and who you are. I've become like, a person, like, or at least I think I can generalize this. We all become certain types of people just based on what we do. Like the fit guy, for example, he is the fit guy. Why? Because he goes to the gym every single day without fail, no excuses. He eats relatively the same thing, all the healthy meals and all this stuff. He wears the certain type of clothing that he wears. He has all the apps on his phone. He has MyFitnessPal. He has, he has like the Whoop tracker to like track his health and everything. He is the fit guy because of the actions that he takes. What about a fat guy? What actions does the fat guy take? He doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't eat food, like at least real food at least. He eats McDonald's and fucking... What else do other people eat? Like what all fat people eat these days. I think it's just McDonald's, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. like Wendy's, IHOP, like just fast food, right? He doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't go outside. He barely steps out of his room. He doesn't drink enough water. He doesn't do things that a happy, healthy human would, right? I guess we can just generalize that. So he's a fat guy. Why? Because of the actions that he took to get there. What you are, or who you are, is based on the actions that you take. We know this, right? Like, I know this. Who I am is based on the actions that I take, or the actions that I did take, the actions that my past self, my younger self did. When I was at the lowest point in my life, as I stated at like the beginning of this video, I was just basically just like an addict, a person with shit mental health, a guy who's traumatized from childhood, largely because of the actions that I took. I was a loser. I was an addict. Why? Because I decided to take those actions. I decided to play video games for 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, every single day for years. I decided to watch porn for 1,000 hours. I decided to fap for over 1,000 hours. I decided these things, and that was who I was. I took action on those things, and that's who I became. It's really that simple. From at least what I've experienced. When I wanted to fix my life, when I wanted to become this disciplined guy, what actions did I take? I started going to the gym. I shaved my head. I I like cute hair, like long hair and stuff. Like, oh, I look proper cute, bro. I shaved all of that off. I wrote down my goals and I obsessed over them. I had all the apps on my phone. I had MyFitnessPal. I had like Whoop. I had like Sleep Cycle. All these things, optimize my health and everything. Right. My phone would be in like black and white. Like it would be these like weird small things, weird actions that I took, tracking every single grain of rice, every single thing that I would eat every single day, tracking workouts, tracking sleep. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, even right now, like I still have like a bunch of pages just on my wall of just things that just reminders of who I am. I know that might sound like really, really cringe and whatnot, like, oh, he's being cringe, bro. But it's true, like I have a bunch of like pages on my wall of like just like things to remind me of like, like this is where I am right now. This is where I am in life. It's just the actions that I took. Being intentional with what I did, being intentional with what I consumed. When I started to consume this content, I started to change my behavior. I started to change my actions. That's who I became. Please, really, like, pay attention to this. Be intentional with what you do. Be intentional with what you consume. Not only when it comes to, like, health, like, food and water and all this sort of stuff, but media, music, movies, TV shows, videos, whatever it is, right? Any media, any content. Even if something as simple as like music, right? Like, for those of you who know me in real life, I don't listen to any rappers. I don't listen to any like DJ music. You want to know what I listen to, bro? I'm like an absolute like retard autist, right? Like, I listen to Viking music. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's the only music I really listen to. I listen to Viking music when I'm working out. That's it. I know that might seem like really autistic, but there's a reason why I do that. There's a reason why I did that is because I realized, like, one day I was in the gym and I was listening to like some rap song. And I was pushing hard. Like, there was a rap song that I really liked. I really liked the beat of this rap song especially. And so I was grunting, I was pushing hard, like it was like I had like a pretty good workout that day as well. But at the end of it, when like the music was still playing in like my headphones, I decided to like really listen to the lyrics. You want to know what this guy was talking about? This guy was talking basically about all of like the degen things, about sex, about drugs, about alcohol, about all of these things, like all these like these rappers talking about like taking drugs and like sucking the drug dealer's dick. Like I know that might sound like really really weird. That's what you listen to. That's what I listen to at least, or I used to listen to it. I don't. And during that time as well, I would always like look at women as if they were just like sex objects. Like I know that might sound weird, and that's also really conflicting, isn't it? Because like there's people who tell you to like not sexualize women, not treat them as sex objects. Yet you see them in real life, and it's like, oh, okay, you're basically wearing no clothes. You're basically like 70% naked, aren't you? Oh, okay. But yet you tell me, oh, don't look at me that way, bro. What? Like that's really really confusing, isn't it? Once I stopped listening to that music, it's like my mind was like way more peaceful too. Remember, I would always listen to music when I was eating food. If you watched the previous video, you'll know like I would watch something. I would always be watching something whilst I ate food. I would always be listening to music and whatnot. Once I stopped doing that, it was like life became so much more peaceful. Be intentional with what you consume, which applies to everything: food, music, movies, everything. You don't realize like how much, especially like the content that you consume, really dictates like your beliefs, what you do, and it just dictates who you become. It just dictates just who you are by the end of it, right? Be intentional with it and be careful with it too. Take from this video what you will. Hope it helped you. Take care.